my name is Sarah. I'm here to talk to you about leadership in university housing, CliftonStrengths trends, and Frostburg State University resident assistants. So before we even begin, I just would like to share with you my top 5 strengths. So I'm analytical, learner, focused, restorative, and competitive. If you're not familiar with CliftonStrengths, it's a series of 100 questions, or over 100 questions, and based on your responses, they determine what your top strengths are. There are 34 possible strengths, and we are awarded our top 5. So first, I'd like to describe to you how I came to pick this topic. Next, I will present my findings. Then I would like to explain how you can use the strengths in your lives and in your role as an RA. So I first came to find out my Clifton strengths when I was in my first year orientation class, but it was really just a requirement, so I didn't think too much about it. I really started to develop a passion for them this past fall at the leadership retreat. Here are a few pictures from the leadership retreat. We put our first year students through a series of physical challenges, and after they completed the challenge or time ran out, we would let them have a brief discussion. And then as facilitators, we would bring the discussion back to their strengths. So we would ask, who stood out as a leader? Which of your strengths were you maybe using or did you see come to the top? And how can you connect this to your school life? This has also been used at other schools. So 5 Midwestern pharmacy schools published an article, and they looked at their students, and they actually found that their students really only had the same strengths. So there were a lot of strengths that their students were lacking, and they decided to think about that the next time they were admitting students for the next Doctor of Pharmacy class. When I started to look into the RA strengths, I expected to see strengths that really reflected our role as an RA. We're creative, we connect with residents, and we know a lot about the resources on campus. So I expected to see a lot of strengths in the relationship building and the executing domains. Now I found pretty much just that. These are our overall top 5 strengths for the 35 RAs who completed the CliftonStrengths test. So first up we have restorative, and so if you're restorative, that means you're good at dealing with problems, figuring out what's wrong and resolving it. And so that was actually seen by 16 out of the 35 RAs who have completed the CliftonStrengths. Next up we have relator, so that's where you're encouraging a deep connection with your residents, figuring out what they like, what they don't like, what excites them, and what really scares them. Next up we had achiever. So this is kind of described by Gallup as the fire burning inside. So when you're on your last round and it's really late and you come across a big incident and then you're up until 4 a.m., but then you have class again at 8 a.m., we can do that. And we do that pretty well because we have this fire burning inside of us. Next up we had input. And so that's a collector. And so at first I was a little, I don't really understand how that relates. But I went on to Gallup and I was looking up the descriptions, and people who exhibit input don't always collect items, they collect knowledge, and we do that all the time. We can connect a resident with any resource we have on campus, and if we can't, we can connect them with someone who can. And then not surprisingly, we also saw empathy. So this is seeing the world through our residents' eyes, and this is how we're going to develop programs that really are for our residents' needs. Next up, I'd also like to talk about the areas that we could develop a little stronger. So this is really the influencing domain. All of those strengths kind of lacked, most specifically self-assurance. So actually none of the RAs out of the 35 that completed the strengths quiz exhibit that strength. So this means that you not only have confidence in your abilities, but also in your judgment. We also saw a lack when it came to maximizer, and so that means when you find something or someone, you feel the need to nurture it, refine it, and stretch it towards excellence. And then we also saw a lack when it came to significance. And significance means that we want to be recognized for the strengths that we possess and how we choose to use the strengths. And I think maybe the Residence Life Office sees this because every month we have RA of the Month, Board of the Month, and Program of the Month. But we also honor the nominees each time. So as a resident assistant, how can you really use these strengths in your role? Well, first, when it comes to programming, this could be a new idea for you. You can develop your residents' strengths and make their strengths even stronger and show them how to develop them. Or you can see the areas that need development and help your residents excel in those areas as well. Another way is your floor meetings at the beginning of the year. Typically our residents come in and they sit with the only person they know, their roommate. Well, we can encourage conversation and getting to know each other by simply grouping them by their top strengths or maybe their strength domains. That way they're sitting around like-minded people and they're engaging in conversation with people who typically attack challenges with the same methods. And then Minnesota Twin Cities College, they actually put all of their residents' strengths, their top 5 strengths, on door decorations. So that way as you're going around your hall, you kind of see, oh, this person's really great at analyzing, or this person's really great at restorative. Maybe the next time I need someone to look at something from a different perspective, or I need someone to double check my perspective, you might know who to go to. Or if you're interested because you don't understand what a strength means, you can kind of go to them and get to know them and come up with a description for yourself. So it can also be used in other organizations pretty seamlessly, especially in those organizations where you have elected officials. So if you're in another organization and you realize or you kind of notice that you're coming up with all of these great fundraising ideas, but there's really no fundraising occurring, and so maybe your organization is starting to struggle. The next time you're electing officials, maybe think about looking at your officials' strengths. Are they really strong in the executing category? That might be just what you need to boost your organization and to actually start fundraising and putting things into motion. But, in conclusion, whether you're using the CliftonStrengths or other methods, because once you leave the university, you don't really have free access to CliftonStrengths. Really what I just want to encourage is the use of positive psychology. And so here, CliftonStrengths, on their website, they have a nice little quote, "Weakness fixing prevents failure, but strengths building leads to success." So really what I want you to take away, whether it's in your role as an RA, in your personal and professional development, or even in other organizations, I really hope that you use this positive psychology because it is scientifically proven that dwelling on the most positive things and encouraging people to continue to succeed leads them to succeed. And so I would like to thank my presentational communication class for giving me the opportunity to develop my passion and research the CliftonStrengths. I would also like to thank the Office of Leadership and Experiential Learning and the Career and Professional Development Center, along with Frostburg State University, for providing access to CliftonStrengths for each and every student, undergraduate or graduate. All you need is the FSU email. And lastly, thank you to the Residence Life Office for allowing me to grow academically and personally within a great job among an amazing staff for the past 2 years. So if you are further interested, maybe you forget what your top 5 are, or you haven't taken it and you'd like to find out your top 5, here is a QR code that you are free to